Stars on 45 was a Dutch novelty pop act that was briefly very popular throughout Europe and in the United Kingdom, the United States and Australia in 1981. The group later shortened its name to Starsound in the US, while in the UK and Ireland it was known as Starsound. The band, which consisted solely of studio session musicians under the direction of Jaap Eggermont, formerly of Golden Earring, popularized medley recordings made by recreating hit songs as faithfully as possible and joining them together with a common tempo and underlying drum track. History: Jaap Eggermont originally created the Stars on 45 concept after the managing director of the Dutch publishing company Red Bullet Productions, Willem van Kooten, in the summer of 1979 by sheer coincidence happened to hear a disco medley being played in a record store. The medley combined original recordings of songs by the Beatles, the Buggles, the Archies and Madness with a number of recent American and British disco hits like Lips Incorporated's Funky Town, Heatwave's Boogie Nights, and the SOS Band's Take Your Time, as the rhythms of the various songs tended to complement and dovetail into each other. When Van Kooten heard that the medley also used a segment of Venus, a 1970 US #1 hit by Dutch band Shocking Blue, a song for which he himself held the worldwide copyright, and knowing that neither he nor Red Bullet Productions had given the permission for the use of the recording, he realized that the medley in fact was a bootleg release. The record turned out to be a 12-inch single called Let's Do It in the 80s Great Hits, credited to a non-existing band called Passion and issued on a non-existing record label called Alto. The medley had its origin in Montreal, Canada, and it was later revealed that it was the work of one Michel Eiley together with two professional DJs, Michel Gendreau and Paul Richer. Gendreau and Richer both specialized in the art of splicing, stringing together snippets of music from different genres, in varying keys and BPMs and from different sound sources, at this time still predominantly from vinyl records. The first version of the medley was 8 minutes long, and included parts from some 20 tracks of which only 3 were by the Beatles, No Reply, I'll Be Back, and Drive My Car. A later extended, 16-minute, 30-track mix of the same medley labeled Bits and Pieces 3 added another 5 Beatles titles, Do You Want to Know a Secret, We Can Work It Out, I Should Have Known Better, Nowhere Man, and You're Going to Lose That Girl. With the bootleg recording obviously already circulating in dance clubs on both sides of the Atlantic, Van Kooten decided to bootleg for bootleg, and create a licensed version of the medley by using sound-alike artists to replicate the original hits and therefore contacted his friend and colleague Jaap Eggermont. The Beatles' sound-alikes were established Dutch singers. John Lennon's parts were sung by Baz Muse of the 1970s Dutch pop group Smile. Paul McCartney's and George Harrison's parts were sung by Sandy Coast frontman Hans Vermeulen and Okie Huisdens, who had worked with Vermeulen in the band Rainbow Train. Apart from the recreated songs, an original chorus and hook written by Eggermont and musical arranger Martin Deuser called Stars on 45 was added at intervals to help string differing sections together. The 45 in the title refers to the playback speed of a vinyl record single Euro 45 RPMs. Such singles were often simply called 45s. The female vocalist in the chorus was session singer Jodie Pijpe, and later recordings also featured uncredited vocals by Dutch 1970s star Albert West and Arnie Treffers of rock revival band Long Tall Ernie and the Shakers. The Stars on 45 recordings were made before the birth of digital recording technology, which meant that each song was recorded separately and the different parts were subsequently manually pieced together with a pre-recorded drum loop, using analog master tapes, in order to create the psyched medleys. The specific drum loop heard on most Stars on 45 recordings is often referred to as the clap track, due to its prominent and steady hand claps. The first such release was a 11/30 12" single, issued in the aftermath of the so-called anti-disco backlash, and was released on the minor label CNR Records in the Netherlands in December 1980. The single was simply entitled Stars on 45 by Stars on 45, with no credits on the label or the cover as to who actually sang on the recording. When Dutch radio stations began playing the 4-minute, 8-track Beatles segment of the medley, placed in the middle of the original, 12" mix, an edited 7 single with the Beatles part preceded by Venus, and the Archies' Sugar Sugar was released and hit the #1 spot of the Dutch singles charts in February 1981. A few months later it also reached #2 in the UK, where it was released by the British subsidiary of CBS Records and credited to Starsound. Shortly thereafter Eggermont created the first Stars on 45 album, long play album, issued with an equally anonymous album cover and featuring a 16-minute side-long medley of Beatles titles. In June 1981 the Stars on 45 medley single also went to #1 in the US, where it was released by Radio Records, a sublabel of Atlantic Records. The track list for the 7 inches edit of the Stars on 45 medley in the US was the names of all the songs that make up the medley as it appears on the actual record label. This single with its 41-word title continues to hold the record for a #1 single with the longest name on the Billboard charts, due to the legalities requiring each song title be listed. The Stars on 45 long play album also became a massive seller worldwide, topping both the UK and Australian album charts. It was a top 10 hit in most parts of Europe and also reached #9 on Billboard's album chart in the US. The popularity of the album even resulted in it being given an official release in the Soviet Union, where it was issued by state-owned record label Melodial under the title Discover K Stars. The Stars on 45 medley single was later awarded a platinum disc for 1 million copies sold in the US alone. A second Beatles medley went to #67 on the US charts. Another album followed later that same year, Long Play Album, Volume 2, featuring medleys using the songs of ABBA, a #2 hit in the UK and Motown, US #55. The recordings of the Stars on 45 medleys were also made before the advent of modern synthesizers with the possibility of sampling sounds. Consequently, for the recreation of tracks like the themes from Star Wars and the War of the Worlds, included in the Star Wars and Other Hits medley on Long Play, Album 2 and released as the third European single under the title Volume 3, a full symphony orchestra was used, including strings, brass, woodwind, harpsichord, orchestral percussion like timpani etc., even if those particular parts were only 10 or 15 seconds long on the actual record released. In late 1981 Eggermont and Martin Deuzer were awarded the Canamus Export Prize in the Netherlands in recognition of their contributions to Dutch culture and economy. A third album, The Superstars, featured medleys of the Rolling Stones and Stevie Wonder. The single Stars on 45.3, a tribute to Stevie Wonder, peaked at #28 in the US in 1982, where the act was now simply listed as Stars on. It also reached #14 in the UK, where it was called Stars Medley, confusingly exactly the same title as the third album in the British Isles and Australasia. In continental Europe and most other parts of the world the Stevie Wonder medley was entitled Stars on Stevie. In late 1982 Eggermont and Deuzer again won the Canamus Export Prize, this time together with Tony Sherman, who sang lead vocals on Stars on Stevie. In 1982, there was a staged musical show at the Huntington Hartford Theatre in Hollywood, California, and a video of that show was released in 1983 by MCA Home Video. A spin-off group called the Star Sisters had a hit in Europe in 1983 with an Andrews Sisters medley. The albums were released under the moniker of Stars on 45 Presents The Star Sisters. 1985 saw the release of an album titled Stars on 45, Soul Review, and a single called The Sam and Dave Medley credited to Stars on 45 featuring Sam and Dave, and including the Stars on 45 logo on the album cover, but not produced by Jaap Eggermont. It featured David Prater and his new singing partner Sam Daniels. Original Sam and Dave member Sam Moore demanded that the album and single be recalled. They were later relabeled and reissued credited to the new Sam and Dave Review. Later European-only releases included Stars on Frankie, released in 1987, and some 10 years later Stars on 45, The Club Hits, the latter however not produced by Eggermont. While none of the three original Stars on 45 albums have been reissued to CD in their entirety or in their original form, several CD compilations on European budget labels such as EMI's subsidiary Music Club, Arcade, Adel Records, Falcon New Media, Bunny Music and ZYX Music have been released under the non-copyrighted Stars on 45 feet moniker all through the 1990s and 2000s. These include the Best of Stars on 45, the Very Best of Stars of 45, the Magic of Stars on 45, Stars on 45 presents the Mighty Mega Mike's album, the Greatest Stars on 45, the Non-Stop Party album, Greatest Stars on 45 Volume 1 and Greatest Stars on 45 Volume 2. It should however be noted that some of these compilations also feature titles such as The Carpenters Medley, Beach Boys Gold, The Spencer Davis Group Medley, Love Songs Are Forever etc. Again, recordings that were neither produced by Jaap Eggermont nor originally released as by Stars on 45 in the 1980s. In 2011, Dutch dance label Spinnin' Records issued a set of new remixes by global DJs and Olaf Basowski. In both mixes, only the original intro and chorus of the Stars on 45 singles were sampled. They did not contain any hits or sample of existing hits. There was a touring company also called Stars on 45 that promoted their albums, although not using the same studio session musicians as on the record. The group remains active as a touring outfit, playing at corporate events and weddings, using a revolving group of professional musicians. The current band leader is Eddie Garr. Similar acts and parodies. Before Stars on 45 in 1976, the Ritchie family had scored their biggest U.S. hit with a similar medley named The Best Disco in Town. This had incorporated various pop hits of the day, such as Silver Convention's Fly, Robin, Fly, and Donna Summer's Love to Love You Baby, recreated in an order, and segged by the title theme. 2 years before the release of the Stars on 45, a similar medley was produced by the French Laurent Rossi. The band Cafar Copyright Crami played its unlimited citations by taking the original Beatles recordings, editing them into a sequence, overdubbing identical drum and bass parts, singing hit songs as faithfully as possible and stringing them together, with a common tempo and relentless underlying drum track. The single with its 45 words title was a hit throughout Europe and North Africa. The band acted playback on TV but played the medley live in a different place every night during more than 500 nights in multiple countries. Almost a year before the release of the Stars on 45, a similar medley was produced by three South Florida men by taking the original Beatles recordings, editing them into a sequence, and then overdubbing identical drum and bass parts. While never receiving any airplay, the master was purchased by a New York disco label. After Stars on 45 the commercial success of the first Stars on 45 single started a medley craze from 1979 to 1983, adopting the same approach of anonymous studio productions stringing together classic hits. The approach was used with a commercially successful Hooked on Classics series of albums. In 1981, the Beach Boys had their own minor hit with the Beach Boys medley, peaking at number 12 on the U.S. Hot 100 chart. Capitol Records' incentive to produce and release this medley came from the attention a South Florida man was receiving with his own self-produced and self-performed medley. Chuck Kirkpatrick, a former Capitol artist himself. In the spring of 1982, the Beatles hit the charts with their own medley. They peaked at number 10 in the UK sales charts and number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 with the Beatles movie medley, highlighting their hits from the various motion pictures they appeared in throughout their popularity. The Beatles movie medley remains the only Beatles single not released on CD. Other examples include hits on 45 with Disco Beatles, Disco on 33 with 28 hits of the Superstars, Disco Dancing on 33 with Disco Dancing on 33, Magazine 60 with Magazine 60, Intro Disco with Intro Disco, Star Tracks with its Bee Gees medley Star Tracks Club Disco, Tight Fit with Back to the 60s Volume 1, and Back to the 60s Volume 2, Enigma with Ain't No Stopping, Disco Mix 81, and I Love Music, Disco Special, Giddy Park with Beach Boy Gold, and its Four Seasons medley Seasons of Gold, Lobo with his Harry Belafonte medley The Caribbean Disco Show, Band of Gold with Love Songs Are Back Again, and Love Songs Are Forever, Paul Giggs and his Guitar Collection, Rock Heroes with their Rod Stewart medley Rock Heroes Volume 1, Motor City All-Stars with a tribute to Motown, Trini Tunes and their Trini Lopez hit medley, and Super Rock Stars Live with Super Rock Stars Live. Some performers used the On 45 branding for their own medleys and parodies during this period. The rock band Squeeze recorded a medley of their previous hits, calling it Squabs on 45, and releasing it as the B-side to their 1981 single labeled With Love. For their 1981 release, Christmas Jamboree Bag, Chaz and Dave recorded a medley entitled Stars Over 45, featuring a selection of traditional London songs. British punk band Tenpole Tudor also parodied the concept with Tenpole 45, the B-side of their 1981 single Wonder Bar, and in the early 1980s, Ivor Big unreleased Bras on 45, a comedy medley. Also in 1981, American comedians Stevens and GRDNIC released Commercials on 45, which was a compilation of the duo's parodies of commercials set to music. Later that year, Boney M released a medley under the title 6 Years of Boney M Hits, Boney M on 45, featuring some 20 of their best-known recordings. Star Turn on 45 released a single of the same name in 1981, a medley in the Stars on 45 style, parodying working men's club singers. Scottish post-punk band Orange Juice recorded a Stars on 45-like medley of their earliest singles called Blokes on 45 for John Peel's BBC radio show, which was eventually released on the compilation The Glasgow School in 2005. Weird Al Yankovic's 1984 song Polkas on 45 is a medley performed in the style of a polka, a format which Yankovic has used on most of his subsequent albums. A medley of British pop group Girls Aloud singles, including the outro and intro from the original Stars on 45 release and entitled Girls on 45, was released in 2009 as the B-side of their single The Loving Kind. Discography Albums Stars on 45, long play album. UK title, Starsound Stars on 45, the album. US title, Stars on long play, Stars on 45, long play album, Volume 2. UK title, Starsound Stars on 45, the album, Volume 2. US title, Stars on long play 2, Stars on 45, The Superstars. UK title, Starsound Stars Medley. US title, Stars on long play 3, Stars on 45, Soul Review, Stars on 45, Stars on Frankie, Stars on 45, The Very Best of Stars on 45, Stars on 45, The Club Hits. Singles. Netherlands, January 1981, Stars on 45, Stars on 45 Medley, July 1981, Stars on 45, More Stars, September 1981, Stars on 45, Volume 3, February 1982, Stars on 45, Stars on Stevie, April 1982, Stars on 45, The Greatest Rock and Roll Band in the World, October 1987, Stars on 45, Stars on Frankie, 1989, Stars on 45, Stars on 89 Remix, 1991, Stars on 45, Stars on Stevie Mega Mics, 1997, Stars on 45, The Club Hits. United Kingdom, April 1981, Starsound, Stars on 45, July 1981, Starsound, Stars on 45 Volume 2, September 1981, Starsound, Stars on 45 Volume 3, February 1982, Starsound, Stars Medley, June 1982, Starsound, Stars Medley. United States, May 1981, Stars on 45, Medley, Intro Venus/Sugar Sugar No Reply I'll Be Back Drive My Car Do You Want to Know a Secret We Can Work It Out I Should Have Known Better Nowhere Man You're Going to Lose That Girl Stars on 45, July 1981, Stars on 45, Medley 2, September 1981, More Stars on 45, More Stars, March 1982, Stars on 45 3, June 1982, Stars on 45 3, Rollin' Stars. July 1983, Stars on, The Star Sisters Medley. References. External links, Stars on 45 at AllMusic, Discogs.com Biography and Discography, RatAllMusic.com Biography and Discography, Dutch biography and discography, Billboard.com biography and chart history, Chartstats, UK chart history, Dutch chart history, liner notes, the very best of Stars on 45, Stars on 45 official website.